what is normal? Now, honestly, I usually really hate the word normal. Not because of the word itself, but usually because of how it's used in reference to people. By which I mean, saying something is normal or otherwise doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because whether or not you're referring to tastes, personality, appearance, fashion sense, or in general how someone might carry themselves in society, so in daily life, that changes from place to place. If you were to go from wherever you live to the opposite end of the world, to the direct opposite to where you live, then instantly you're put into the abnormal category, because it doesn't matter what's normal to you or makes sense to you, because the social construct there is usually very, very different. In some cases, drastically so. Even in little things like how people greet each other, or what words are acceptable or not, or how people view each other or interact with each other. Everything comes into play. It's not just one thing or another. So saying someone is normal or abnormal has never made much sense to me, and honestly I couldn't care less, because if someone, whether or not you think of yourself as normal or someone else does, or if you think of yourself as strange or weird or someone else does, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day all that matters is that you are who you are, inside and out, in every sense possible. If there's anything you want to change about yourself, then make sure you want to change it for yourself, not to please other people. If there's anything about you that you feel like doesn't fit in, don't worry about it, lean into it, because that's just a part of who you are. And the point of acceptance or awareness, the point of equality, is supposed to be accepting people for every kind of difference. It doesn't matter what kind of difference, even if it's just a difference of opinion, even if they have a different sense of what they think is acceptable or not acceptable, then have a conversation, maybe they'll change their mind, maybe they won't. But at the end of the day, you have to accept that that is how that person is. Honestly, all that matters to me when it comes to meeting people is how they respect me or how they interact with me. And by respect, what I mean is just being polite, is just being accepting if I say something strange or do something strange. Now, if I said something that's offensive and I said it unintentionally, then I will let them know from day one that I've met them. If I ever say something that hurts them in any way or they don't like, tell me. Don't be afraid to tell me. Tell me straight away. I'll apologize for it, because it probably didn't occur to me, or probably I'm using it in the incorrect context. And I will just file it under something new I've learned and something new I need to keep in mind when I'm interacting with people. And it is that straightforward. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because in a recent video, I talked about the differences between high and low functioning autism. And I was just using the video, the whole premise of the video, it was just me trying to sort of apologize and sort out how sometimes in a previous video I used them in the wrong order. It's like referencing high as low and stuff like that, because that's how it seems to have been used or termed when I've had certain conversations, even recently. And I wasn't aware that it's an outdated term or that it could be harmful. And the reason for that was because I was diagnosed with autism 10 plus years ago. So back then it was a very common term that was usually only used as a sort of descriptive term for people to be able to explain how or why people with autism can have such drastically different portrayals, physically, verbally, or socially. If you're autistic, it's not a clear-cut thing. It's not you are this or you are that. There's a massive grey area, and there's a massive grey area in every kind of context when it comes to people, because people usually don't fit into one category or the other. They can fit into both, they can fit into three, it doesn't matter. But so all it was a descriptive term that people were using, or sometimes a very simplified explanation that people use when explaining autism to someone who didn't know much about the diagnosis, to try and explain it, or to try and build a basis of understanding that they could then build on and become more accurate and more complex. It was never a diagnostic term, it was just a term people used, like I said, descriptively. Now, because of that, and because even in recent conversations in autistic circles, it's been used very, very socially, very kind of just explanatorily, with a little bit more complexity into it than what it was than what it's usually referencing, that I wasn't aware. No one explicitly told me that I was outdated, so it never occurred to me. But in the comment section for that video, when I was just trying to correct myself, lots of people made that point, that it is harmful, it's outdated. And again, I have filed that now under something new that I've learned, and I'll keep in mind. But I also explained individually to everyone's comments, and I mean individually because I want people to feel like I'm responding to them specifically, that why it was I was making reference to those terms at all. It wasn't an offensive thing. It wasn't even being an ignorant thing. It was just me trying to correct myself because I thought I got something wrong, and turns out there was even something more wrong. But someone in those comments made a comment about how it's a harmful phrase, but they also said it's something only normals use, and that it's, and they said, so go sit with them. Now, I found the last bit quite rude, because it seemed to be implying, and I could be getting it wrong, but it seemed to be implying that I haven't, conversed with people who aren't autistic, or who are autistic, perhaps, and to see what they think, or to understand these nuances. But that's the thing, I have my entire life, actually, since I was a kid. So everything I'm talking about is from experience, or from research, and so on and so forth, or even from current learning. And I didn't like it, but I explained to them what I said. Now someone apologized to me and explained they didn't want to come across as rude, and they totally get it if I didn't know, which is fine. So they just want to let me know, and I was like, thank you. But the person in question who said that rude comment, they said that it was irrelevant what was common when I was younger, and that is now dated term now. And I get that, but it's still relevant because terms you used, or the way you spoke when you were younger, still have an effect on how you converse with people nowadays, and regardless of whether or not they're outdated now, it's like a habit that's hard to break, especially if you're unaware of it being something that needs to be broken. But the main thing that got me was their term normal, and I explained to them also it's offensive them saying normal, because what they're referring or trying to imply is that people who are autistic are abnormal. But autism is just a facet of who you are. It doesn't make up you as an entire person. There's many aspects of someone's personality and daily life that make up you. But autism or ADHD or any kind of disorder does play a major role. So I was explaining that. Now, they also got back to me about that, saying that they use normal as a derogatory term, actually, for people who aren't autistic, because as they find them, they're uninteresting. Now, I didn't like that, only because many people I know are neurotypical, and they are very interesting, and I don't believe normal should ever be used as a purposefully derogatory term towards someone. Because again, it doesn't matter if you are normal or not. It's like the word mundane. If people like a mundane life or a super exciting life, that's up to them as long as they're satisfied. But purposely using a normal as a derogatory term towards people who are neurotypical is just creating a bigger divide. It's creating a separation where you're potentially trying to imply also that people who are autistic, because they're more interesting, that then they're also superior. And I don't think that's correct. Because everyone is interesting. Anyone who's even slightly different to me, like 0.01 difference, I find interesting and fascinating. I want to get to know. I want to have a conversation with. Everyone is different. Everyone is interesting. And it should never be thought of as otherwise. You should never purposely put people into one category or another. It's not that simple. So that's all I wanted to say in this video. Now, if you like this video, please leave a like and follow me on TikTok. If you have any opinions, thoughts, or questions or requests for future videos, please put so in the comment section. Other than that, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're interested, and also repost the video because it helps raise awareness. And if I hadn't made it clear in this one, that's still something that needs to be talked about. Issues do not go away by ignoring them. They can only be solved by continuing to talk about them and educating people, and otherwise just making the effort to understand people. So that, and also helps with my motivation for the videos in general. So with that having been said, I got stuff to do now. I got to help my brother with some stuff. And besides that, so have a great day wherever you are, and hopefully you'll see you in the next video. Till then,